Media's Mining Weekly is speaking to Vusi Mpofu, the Senior Lead of Mining and Chemicals at Nedbank. Vusi, thanks very much for chatting to us. We'd like to get your insight from a banking perspective on the current state of the mining sector in South Africa.
At the moment, obviously, as your listeners would know, the mining sector has been experiencing a bit of a boom given the elevated commodity prices. So it's really one of those cycles which has benefited not only South African mining, but SA Inc. as well. But, and it's a big but, this is actually papering over some very serious structural issues which underlie the industry as a whole. Chief amongst those is the slowdown, or if not disappearance, of investment in future capacity. This is a trend that we've been seeing for the past 10 years in terms of mine expansions and exploration. South Africa has definitely been on a downward trend. Add to that, despite the quality and the output of product that comes out of South Africa, we do have infrastructure challenges. From a logistics perspective, a number of players within mining are struggling to get product to market as efficiently as we possibly can. Bearing in mind that we sit on the southern tip of Africa, we may be able to compete in terms of all-in sustaining costs at the operations, but we still have a logistics challenge, and to the extent that we don't look for efficiencies within that particular chain becomes a disadvantage for the sector as a whole. The other issue really, which I would place in my top three detractors for a mining boon for South Africa, particularly going into the next 10, 15 years, is the subsistence of the policy uncertainty. Yes, there have been improvements in recent years. We don't have as fractious a relationship as previous policymakers have had with the mining sector, but we're still not where we are. Add to that the capacity constraints which are built in to our statutory and government bodies that ultimately still have to implement this policy. And, we do have quite a few things that we should be working on as government and as the mining sector as a whole.
What potential are we missing out on?
To the extent that we want to be able to grow South African industry, create greater jobs, improve GDP for South Africa, we are in a race that competes for foreign direct investment from capital which comes out of Canada, London, Sydney, and that capital has over the years been finding its way to other geographies. So you'll find that the rest of the African continent has progressively been eating up more of that investment spend. A lot of it is also going to South America, and it becomes a sad indictment on South Africa as a whole if you find that people find it easier to mine in war zones, mind you, to mine in war zones than it is in South Africa. Not only from a policy perspective, but also from the instability of energy. We talk about all these structural things that we have to fix in South Africa to the extent that you don't have consistent power supply and you have no room for independent power production is how we end up here. So to the extent that we've seen moves in the power space where we can now generate up to 100 megawatts, this is the kind of revolutionary thinking that we need. And the level of interest which has responded to this is testament to that being a step in the right direction.
So what else do we have to do to really hit that high point?
If you look at the Northern Cape and the commodities that you ordinarily find there, you look at your iron ore, your manganese. Yes, we need to invest in terms of exploration in those particular areas so that we can build capacity on stream. I caution when we talk about the PGMs, for instance, whether we should be equally aggressive. Yes, we do need a scope for future capacity to be thought about and about bringing it on stream. But in the past, we have found that we must stay away from the Kool-Aid. Yes, we've got elevated prices, which can create an impression of viable investment cases at current levels. But capital will follow viable investment cases. And, to the extent, if you look at the demand dynamic outlook, we still have sufficient capacity from a PGM's perspective, gold is what it is. We are running mines with all-in sustaining costs, which cannot compete with global standard. So in terms of what can we do on that front, not much when you look at the gold aspect, apart from investing in technologies that can try and optimize some tailings extraction for the precious metal. So there's a few levers, and they'd all be dependent on which particular sector one was focusing on.